The closest he comes to defining the Tao, which cannot be defined, I'm just saying the closest he comes to defining it is in these little lines, which I'll read to you now. And again, you need to listen to that, not just with your head, but you need to listen to that with your belly or your entire being, those words, because you cannot understand them just through the mind. If they are meaningful, or if you can sense the power that is in the words, then you are sensing your own power beyond thought activity. There was something formless and perfect before the universe was born. It is serene, empty, solitary, unchanging, infinite, eternally present. It is the mother of the universe. For lack of a better name, I call it the Tao. Note that he begins by saying there was something formless and perfect before the universe was born, before the arising of form, before the Big Bang, you could say. He uses the past tense. In the next line he says, it is serene, empty, solitary. It is not only that which was there before the world came into being, it is that which continues to be there timelessly at the core of your being. That which was there before the Big Bang is still present in you, the unmanifested one life, one consciousness, without which you are nothing. It is the essence of who you are. And of course, if you say that to a normal materialist, scientist, whatever, I'm saying a normal scientist, not a great scientist, then he will say, what is this nonsense? Or if you tell it to somebody who is totally close to it, they'll say, this is mumbo jumbo. There was something before the universe was born, and there's something, what are you talking about? And now listen, he very wisely, Stephen Mitchell, put in a little quote by one of the great scientists, Albert Einstein, what he had to say about it. Somebody who did a lot of thinking, but whose thinking was rooted in the stillness, which, as we shall see, is an essential part of the teaching of the Tao. His thinking was rooted in the Tao, in the stillness beyond the noisy mind. That's where Einstein's realizations came from. And so he was not just trapped in his noisy mind like most scientists and then deny the reality of the transcendental, but he was connected with it. And he said, I'm not used to quoting from books in talks. Here's Einstein talking. The scientist's religious feeling takes the form of a rapturous amazement at the harmony of natural law, which reveals an intelligence of such superiority that, in comparison with it, all systematic thinking of human beings is an utterly insignificant reflection. This feeling is the guiding principle of my life and work. The recognition of a vast intelligence that underlies all of creation. Instead of saying, what, something more intelligent than me? That can't be, that's mumbo jumbo. something that I can't understand, I can't categorize. What mumbo jumbo is that? This is what the Tao Te Ching calls standing on tiptoe, and you're not stable. It's in the flower. It creates that. It's in you. It pervades the very space around us. It comes through the human brain, the brain is gives it some form. And when the brain goes, it no longer goes through that form. It's the very consciousness that you are. So this shows that Einstein was in touch with that dimension. That's why his thinking was inspired. That's why he had sudden revelations. Now we come to the first, slightly longer, just a few lines, never more than a few lines at a time. How to live, to be in touch with that. I'll read this little section first, and then we'll look at the lines and go into it. Not with the intellectual mind, but sensing our way into it. Can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness? Can you let your body become supple as a newborn child's? Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? Can you love people and lead them without imposing your will? Can you deal with the most vital matters by letting events take their course? Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? Giving birth and nourishing, having without possessing, acting with no expectation, leading and not trying to control. This is the supreme virtue. For virtue, substitute power. The power moves through you. If you live in that way, you become it. You realize your oneness with it. Back to the beginning. Can you coax your mind from its wandering? It wanders about. If you look at your own mind, that's what it does. It goes one thing to another, one thought leads to another thought, and goes on and on. Sometimes I call it the voice in the head. Can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness? In other words, is it possible for you to sit still for a moment and don't give attention to every thought that says, follow me, I'll show you the way. That's what every thought says, I'm important. Think about this, think about this. Okay, and once you follow up one thought, and then it becomes another one. And another stream, then you get, that's how most people live, continuously immersed in just chatter, mental chatter, streams of thinking. It's even become literature in the 20th century. It's called the stream of consciousness. James Joyce. You get 30 pages without any punctuation marks. Just he wrote down how he observed his own mind, and he wrote down how it works. It goes on and on. No period, no comma, nothing. Normal. So once you know that, and most of the amazing is people don't even know that. They are so identified with it. It's just that's who I am. I just I think. It's not even that they say I think, because they are the thoughts. And they miss the vast dimension within these underneath thoughts. That's why I say, okay, just don't give all that importance to your thoughts. Just come to a point of rest. This is where the present moment becomes so important, because it's the present moment that can take you out of the stream of thinking. Just becoming alert to this moment. There's nothing much to think about as you sit here. What can you add to this moment that's better than what's already here? Or when you look at a flower, why add thought to it? Or when you look at another human being, why add thought to the beautiful perception of that? So then you keep to the original oneness. The moment you're no longer dominated by thinking and you realize there's a realm beyond thinking inside me, you're connected to the oneness, because it's only through thinking that the illusion of separation arises, when you start calling things this and that and judging and naming. Doesn't mean you can't do it anymore, but you're not trapped in it anymore. Can you let your body become supple as a newborn child's? When you are immersed in thinking, your body becomes rigid because it reflects what's going on in here, a lot of which is problematic. I need to think about this. And the more problematic your thinking is, and all thinking is problematic, the more lifeless your body becomes, and the flow of energy through the body diminishes. You get rigid, you get tense, you're holding in. Can you let your